Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back to Freewheel Station. We've been off for a couple of weeks, had scheduling issues, and then I had an 8-year-old child to watch for a week. So, which was a good visit, but but we're back. So let's get started with. I think we get like the big title sequence. We get like the camera that goes through the drage system showing the different planets, the three different planets and their various moons. And then the station itself hanging like a wheel in the sky with the big, with the superstructure for the building of the framework for starships on the one side, and the camera flies underneath, and we see that corner where there's a wrench welded into the corner, and it come out on the other side and get the big logo. Um, and we'll start off with Kibb's Folly coming out of the drift in in the Aboas system, because you guys had decided to the you wanted to go to the Verilax Concordance to uh, to meet up to try to find a archaeologist here. But we kind of get you guys come out. We get Gibbs Folly coming out of the drift. We get like you know, the whole hole in time space time that opens up. We see sort of like this purplish haze behind as the ship comes out and it closes behind. Um, And we see like the various systems, the four planets in the Aboas system, and like we see some ships flying back and forth, in the near some of the planets and what have you. Um, and where are you guys at? Like I figure, Kib, you're what in the pilot seat, right?
Correct.
All right. Uh, Temerity and Phillip, where are you guys on the shuttle? Are you guys sort of on the cockpit, the bridge, or are one of you in back somewhere?
I'm sleeping. It's my shift to sleep.
Okay, so
Uh,
you're in back sleeping.
Temerity is like crowding Kib, doing that like bored kid question thing of like, so what's that button do?
That turns the lights on.
And that one?
That one
That turns the
sends
lights off.
power over there.
What about that one? She's been
That's a
doing this for like
steering
an
wheel.
hour.
Uh, you actually see Kib, maybe like as you're like trying to watch what Temerity is doing, like you notice over like on the sensors, just sort of in the corner of your eye that you have a ping, like a signal, like there's a ship close by. Like you see ships closer to the planets, but there's a ship that's fairly close to you, to where you're at.
Well, keep an eye on it and see, are they like trying to talk to us, or are they just kind of flying by and we got to avoid not running into them?
Well, maybe you're kind of wondering what they're up to when like they come, like the signal is coming from like behind the shuttle, sort of more or less, and then they fly over the top of your sort of bridge cockpit, and like as the ship flies over the top, you're just kind of like looking at it, you're going, huh, that's a light, that's a handy little light freighter. And then you realize you've seen it before, and as it kind of starts to get a little bit of distance, and you can kind of see the side of it a little bit, you actually see on the side, you realize exactly what this is. You see the words Lucky Drifter written across the side, and you realize this is Captain Percival Worthy's ship.
He's our friend.
Hmm.
Like Kib, you would know that. Like
I know.
Captain Worthy's the guy who arranged your initial like meeting of a lot of the big players in the area.
He's the one that knew that you were still in the brig when you got handed over to the, you know.
Okay, well, first off, I'd be like, how much longer is left on his sleep shift? Yeah, we're here. I sent a message down to him. Hey, we're at our destination and time to come up, I think. Yeah, time to come up. Anyways, we're gonna follow that ship. That'll be fine. See where he goes.
Like, yeah, like Captain Worthy was friends with pretty much everybody. He knew Captain Hurlig and was friends with him too. So, like, you knew him before that.
Percival's
Is there an option?
diplomacy naturally is ridiculous.
Is there a thing to like you can like hail that ship or something like that in this?
Absolutely, you can call, hail him.
Yeah, I
You can
want
get
to
him
do
on
that.
communication. Oh, so you open a channel?
Yeah.
All right.
When I get
What
up
do you
there, I
say?
just break the radio. No, just kidding.
What do you say?
Hi, how you doing? Notice we're in the same area.
It kind of there's like a like you get a reply back like uh who's this? This is the in like you maybe you recognize the sound of his first mate, or one of his crew members anyway.
Oh, right. Usually you talk to her. This is Kib from Free Will Station. And we're kind of in the area and just wanted to say hi.
You get a video channel open, and and you see just in time to see Captain Worthy kind of like uh kind of like pushing his way onto the screen, pushing his crew member out of the way. He's like, "Mr. Kibb, how are you today? How have things been going?"
Eh, here and there. It's been kind of fun, but we're going here, going there, trying to do this, trying to do that. And we came here to do something that I don't know. I just got here and then I saw you. I figured I'd say hi.
Oh, hey,
Uh,
is uh is Ms. Defoe with you on this journey, or are you traveling solo?
No, she's technically in the middle of her sleep shift, but I did send a message to her to have come up because she might want to talk to you too. I don't know what she has
Uh,
in her brain cells, but I sent an awake message down to her, so when she wakes up, she'll be awake.
oh, what brings you to the Aboa system?
I'm looking for. Actually, I want to find this xenoarchaeologist dude.
A xenoarchaeologist. Oh well, he goes. He goes. Do you have a name?
Hold on, I'm scrolling down. Uh, uh, Pergish, Dr. Pergish or Trask? I don't even know if I probably didn't spell it right, but
Doctor. That
really?
sounds familiar. And and he thinks about it. He goes, oh, he goes, Doctor Orask. Yeah, He goes, I think I saw his name on the guest list for the event at Detalo's Dome here recently. They was Detalo call, and you would remember Detalo's Dome. You were there before. It was where you met Sosky Marins when you were here in the Verilax Concordance before. It was like it's like uh, Detalo's got a major celebration coming up. A lot of dignitaries, a lot of important people. I can't say for sure, but I believe I've saw his name on the guest list. A little hard to get hard enough to get it. He says it's a little hard to get an invitation to the den itself, but the dome shouldn't be a problem to get into. Fortunately for you, I may be able to. Well, uh, tell you what. Meet me on Losk, and we'll. He goes. And uh, Philip, if you woke up, it shouldn't have taken you terribly long to get up here. So you're probably walking in the middle of this conversation.
Right.
And so
Behind Kib, he hears as Ha enters the room.
yeah, it's like, is that do you say like you see Captain Worthy's face on the comm screen talking to Kib?
Right. I bend over so that I can wave at him on screen.
I was like, "Oh, Miss Stepfoe." He goes, "We're just talking." He said, "I was just asking if you were on this journey. Says you're looking. Your Mr. Kib says you're looking for some archaeologist."
Yes. He owes this money.
And he kind of chuckles. He goes, he kind of chuckles. He's like, "Well, if you're gonna probably need to go to the Talos Dome."
Always a
He's,
good friend.
he's like, he's like, "I see what'll give me if you'll meet me on Losk and give me a few hours. I'll see if I can't get you onto the guest list for the den. The dome shouldn't be a problem. There's other than a fairly large cover charge to get in, but I might be able to get you in a little bit on just let's see if I can have a word with some people I know."
Right. It's okay. We have the black titanium card.
He's like, "I'll see you on the surface." And he goes and he signs off.
Bye.
I saw him just fly over. I was gonna just say hi. Well, he asked questions, I answered. This is where we're at. It's kind of cool.
I can't wait
Right.
to meet your long-time friend.
Temerity for you, since you haven't met him before.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Percival Worthy is a human,
Okay.
and he's got kind of a sort of like clean cut, pretty boy look, almost like he had been maybe. He looks like somebody who maybe worked for a shipping, or who'd maybe worked for a very professional shipping company, that
Mm.
had, some group, what, so, like a corporation or some sort at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But he's clearly not. That doesn't seem to be what he's doing now, or at least to your knowledge, anyway. He's, you know what? You could probably make a culture check at this point if you
I
have
was
any
gonna
rank in
say.
culture to see if you've heard of him by this point.
I tell you, his silver tongue makes yours look as though it were made of lead.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, that's going to be that's going to be something I have to test out.
you actually heard of Captain Percival Worthy.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like he's got friends everywhere. Like,
Mm.
he seems to be well liked and well connected, even by people that typically hate each other.
Mm.
Like, he somehow is able to navigate to some degree, competing agendas. You've he's what a lot of folks around here call a cade runner, which is a blockade runner. He specializes in being able to move goods in and out of
Mm.
highly blockaded and secured areas. But he's good enough he doesn't come cheap.
Interesting. I like where this is going. A
Yeah.
blockade runner could always use a bit of a lawyer, even if they've got fail-safes. Why not have fail-safes on top of fail-safes?
No. He's like, but yeah, he's fairly well known smuggler and blockade runner, like a very
Yeah.
specialized smuggler.
I'll probably look at Deptho and said, "You did not tell me you were friends with the good captain. I have heard so much about him."
Oh. So, you remember the file that you got of ally assets? He was under W for Worthy.
Huh. Goes through page goes through papers real quick. Oh, shit. See, I did my bump off of that part. It scraped off some of the ink.
So instead of saying awesome, it just says ally. I understand.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Now, as far as it goes, I think technically he is my oldest ally in the Grins system.
Frontier.
Frontier.
Yeah, in the Durelium Frontier.
Durelium, that was the word. Yes.
Because he doesn't just stick to the drage system, he moves around.
As any good smuggler should.
Indeed.
The more well-traveled, the better. Yeah, I think Temerity will go, well, I would love to have an introduction if you think that is apropos.
Well, we're going to Lusk, so you will get to meet him as he tries to get. After we land, I gotta go get cleaned up in my good tie.
Ah, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. We make it so.
We make
So
it
you guys managed to come to a landing, and Losk, like many planets in the Oboa system under the Veralax Concordance, is rife with pollution. And the cities are all built in these giant domes. You could see the pollution, the sort of like as you're like descending down to the sort of door to go in, um, the and land. And there's, of course, there are things that move out there, things that they're rather not terribly identifiable through like the massive multicolored smog
Hmm.
of both industrial, alchemical, and arcane waste.
Hmm.
Um, but as you kind of like go like descend into sort of the main city, what have you, you kind of like the security door in the dome sort of opens, and we see like a shimmering light force field that keeps out sort of our air particulates, um that but allows your ship to like come through and land. And we see uh like maybe on the next docking, pad, the next landing pad over is the Lucky Drifter, and we see like as you guys land and come out of the shuttle, you see like you look across the landing pad area, and you see like technicians coming around, coming out, and they're already sort of like hooking up like fuel and stuff for the Lucky Drifter. You see, what you see like probably one of Worthy's crew members, probably his first mate, dealing with like the technicians and fuel crews and whatnot. Um, and you see his crew kind of come out, and they generally look fairly well kept, but also well armed. Um, and as he kind of like comes out, like his outfit is predominant like his colors are sort of like white and a light blue. Um, and sort of like his jacket is sort of like open as he kind of like pats his man that's talking to the technicians and fuel crew on the shoulder as he walks by and starts walking in your direction. Um, when you guys get out, technicians and fuel crews, come, heading towards you. Who's going to handle talking to them?
Um. So we're top off the fuel. Everything else should be cool. Yeah, just top off the fuel. We don't need repairs. Everything's fine. It's a good, robust little ship. Just top off our
Are
fuel. We'll
you
be all right.
are you in charge of the well, I know you're in charge of the credit card for your own organization, but it's still
Ah,
Grins.
that's who's
Are
paying
you
for
in
it.
charge of
Yes.
are you in charge, but do you actually have like the charge card, the credit charge card for the for Lichdom Corporation.
I have the black titanium card.
So you're pulling out. So you've got the card for Lichdom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he kind of Kim's like, yeah, just the fuel and she's paying.
There we go.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So
Bloop.
maybe one of the technicians comes over and he's got like the thing for you to slot your card and whatnot. And he's
Right.
Got a
like,
little stripe.
yeah, he's basically he's like, all right, and he's like taking care of business. But Captain Worthy is kind of coming across the landing pad areas, heading in your direction. And he kind of gets close enough, but when he kind of gets closer, he kind of waves at you as he walks up, and he comes up and he's like, "So," he goes, and he goes, "It's been a while." And he kind of, as he's walking up, and he like maybe as he walks by one of the technicians, is like, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "Kids doing all right?" I said, "All right, good to hear."
Oh yeah.
Kind of thing.
Hmm.
And it's like he's like, "Hey," he goes, "wasn't expecting to see you guys out here. I was just making I was just making a little bit of a run myself. Well, I finished that run here, but you know, honestly, when didn't recognize your shuttle. I don't think I've ever seen you guys while you're flying it before." And he seems to be giving it the once over. Seems to be in tip top shape for the most part. And he's
It
like,
gets us from point A to point B, sometimes to C, and then back to A, and then we'll go to D. Yeah, it gets around. It worked.
I think Temerity probably chuckles at that.
like,
Like you've met
he's like,
Temerity, haven't you?
I believe I saw some press release with your friend here.
Ah,
Uh,
yes, Temerity, Temeritus at large, and I will pathetically fail at palming him a card. I'll like reach out to shake his hand, and the card will fall down. I'll be like, "Oh fuck!" and then like reach down and like try and pick it up, but it slips out of my fingers a couple times, and then finally I like pick it up, but it's got like dirt and shit on it, and like maybe somebody partially stepped on it, and like hand it
think
to him meekly.
I think he, I think he kind of chuckles at this and he goes, "One of those days." I have
Yeah,
the,
apparently.
he goes, I've had a few of those myself, and you get the impression that uh, that while he seems genuine,
Mm-hmm.
there's just his aura seems like he probably doesn't have that kind of day, but that's
Oh yeah.
you know how sometimes people give off an
Every
aura that.
Yeah,
But
everybody has an off day. I think that
yeah, yeah,
you know, I think Temerity will go, well, I'm a better lawyer than I am at palmistry. So if you're ever if you're ever in any kind of legal trouble, I'm starting to open up offices all around. You can call the number on there, or you can get my direct line, which I have written on the back of the card.
he kind of looks at it and he inspects it and goes, "I'll keep that in mind." And he kind of like puts it in the inside pocket of his jacket. And he's like, he goes, "Well, I think it might be fair to get you guys, I think I got us an in. Uh, should be able to get you into uh, the very least, I can get you in into the dome for without having to pay the cover. The den,
Is it
well,
is it a red or a blue tie thing? Should I do the red one or the blue one?
he kind of laughs. He goes,
Blue, blue. We'll go with blue. Okay.
he's
Sorry, go
he,
ahead.
he's like, it's Detalo's dome, and it's one of his grand celebrations. I don't think there's a particular dress code, other than, well, I don't know, maybe there's not a dress code that way. You see all kinds. He goes, um, and you guys are sort of aware of Detalo's dome. Like
Mm.
Detalo's dome, uh, last time you were here, you learned is sort of like um, it's a big tourist place. Like the Tallow Call owns the place, the whole dome, the whole thing, and the whole thing like is the size of a city, but it's filled with bars and districts for live entertainment and food and whatnot. It's built as something of a tourist trap, but the den itself is in his high rise apartments. You've been to the penthouse, so uh, you've been to like part of this before in any case once before, but it's a real party atmosphere. Um, and Detallo seems to be able to skirt some of the laws of the Verillax Concordance. People speculate about how he came into possession of the dome, whether it was, he was just a really good, really thorough criminal who found out a lot of blackmail information on the right people, or
Hmm.
was he a successful pirate that they gave him this dome as a bribe to quit pirating because they couldn't stop him? Or was he a spy, a former ambassador? There's a number of things like of speculation, but it is the big party central like destination within the Verillax Concordance. I mean, there's
Speaking
other places, but this is the spot.
Yeah, speaking of laws of the Verillax Concordant, how lax do laws seem in this dome towards extracurricular substances? What's the vibe check here?
Well, you can make a profession lawyer check to see if you know about the laws in the Verillax Concordance.
I got a 16. I'm not super familiar with the place, but I know my basics.
So there are some basic. There is a certain amount of. First of all, you already know that forms of magic outside of technomantic magic, traditional arcane forms and stuff, is strictly forbidden. It's
Mm.
there's a dogmatic antithesis to that, to things like Solarians and witch warpers and other people who manipulate the forces of nature in different ways.
These guys.
Um, they also they're also fairly capitalistic, however. So a lot of things are bought and traded here. There are drug laws here, but enforcement varies. And your understanding is that in Detallo's dome, there's a lot more lax. Since Detallo runs the place, the Verillax police forces don't really well, they go there at his like request and sort of follow him, sort of his sort of like ground rules when they're there. Um, and considering he throws the biggest party in the entire concordance, you can pretty much assume that unless you're being a dumbass about it, then you're probably going to be okay once you're in the dome. But in the basic, the port city that you're in right now, you might want to be a little careful.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I think that Temerity will keep that in mind. Um, and in keeping that in mind, go, oh, I forgot something on the ship. I'll be right back. And
there are also laws about like what kinds of weapons you can take with you,
mm-hmm,
where you can carry in public.
mm-hmm.
Like no one is allowed to conceal and carry. You
Ooh,
can carry openly, but you're not allowed to conceal, and
would
you're not
a
allowed to.
s- would a
Go ahead.
sword cane count as concealed?
The laws are real tricky there.
Hmm.
There is some case. There are a couple of examples of case law where it was exception, but in those cases, there were either extenuating circumstances or the person who was being prosecuted was sufficiently wealthy and powerful and influential enough that there's question in the result of how enforcement would really come down if you were less, economically successful or less politically influential. So
Temerity is a lawyer who's in with the mob. I think that she figures whatever happens, she'll deal with it. She'll keep the cane, but she'll put away her
right,
her ring gun.
but
Yeah.
yeah, you are allowed to carry a sidearm with you, but no explosives, no rifles, no heavy weapons, like
Swagger hand
melee.
cannon count?
Uh, it's a hand. Is it a small arm?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Count. Then it counts. But it is one of those. It's like you'll probably get. You might get looked at to some
Mhm.
extent because it's kind of on the bigger end of hand cannons or of small arms, but it's still technically within the legal limit.
I'll just let you know what things I have that might be
Right.
illegal. I
Right.
have my Luxtasy on me for sure. I'm not giving
Yeah.
that up. I'm just gonna quietly do that in bathrooms.
Okay.
Other than that, I've got my sword cane and my swagger hand cannon, both of which are gilded to the nine, so they're definitely statement pieces. I want people looking at me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
those are the three things I think could potentially get me in trouble out here for GM information.
Right. Um, as far as Kib and Fella, what are you guys carrying?
The whole fucking world. Let me. Let's see. I have a hand cannon Bravo, a big ass club. The skip shot pistol advanced. Then let me see. I have to get to the next page.
And the only thing
Um,
I carry on my side is the sonic pistol, and then the one in my mouth.
okay, and then I have breaching charges inside of it. God, what is it called? Their version of a haversack. Why can I never think of the word? Where is it? But they're inside the interdimensional pocket where uh, Burnwood
Breach
would keep his beers.
the breaching charges are technically illegal to have on you. The club, depending on how big the club is,
It,
might be questionable because they typically
it's
don't say much about
not a
like melee
shillelagh.
weapons. They don't say much about small melee weapons, but like carrying around big pikes and lava swords and things like that are generally kind of they're looked upon as great for collection and great for if you're part of the military, but if you're just walking around for self-protection, there are some laws about like how big of a melee weapon you're allowed to carry. I mean,
Lame.
the general rule is they don't want civilians to be carrying around heavy arsenal that could be used to be effective at fighting at law enforcement. They'd rather, if you're going to try to carry that stuff in, that they just go ahead and have that fight and get it out of the way right up front rather than let you carry it around and then figure out how to deal with you once you're already inside.
Civilians and such, yeah.
Yeah,
Like, why do you have a club?
yeah.
Because I
So,
play baseball.
yeah. So,
All right, I'll leave the club behind.
like a baton, maybe, a baton or a knife or, dagger. But yeah.
Oh, I have one more question about this place. Sorry.
Yeah.
Null
Um,
chamber.
what is this place's relationship with a god like Abadar? Like, I'm sure that their relationship with gods of magic is like one thing, but does Abadar have any notable investments in this sector?
Um, Not really. And that kind of tends to have to do with the dogmatic way that the Verilax Concordance sees magic.
Hmm.
Like priests and mystics aren't completely unknown here, but many of them are underground. Those that have legal sanction to be able to work or to exist are like heavily taxed and regulated. Like they're not allowed nearly the broad latitude you might find somewhere like the Pact Worlds or the Marixia Republic. So it's like there are laws against, um, open, like shows, televised religious events are strictly illegal. The maximum there are maximum capacity numbers for street sermons are pretty much out of the question. But like
Hmm.
small churches and shrines that are allowed, there are capacity numbers that are, strictly held.
So, if I were to say try and use the defense for my sword cane, it's a sign of my religion, that probably wouldn't fly then.
Probably not.
We'll take the sword out, but put the pommel back on the top of the cane. I'm just gonna assume I can do that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that way I still have a cool cane.
Even
Luck-
if even if
Luckily,
you
I can fix it. So
I was gonna say even if you can't, Kib and Fella both have requisite
I did.
skills to be able to tinker that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So but yeah, he's like
And Scott, you are not muted, just to let you know, bud.
yeah, you have some car noises going on.
There it goes.
uh,
How about now?
so,
I
Okay.
just muted him for right now. Just
Ah,
yeah.
yeah. So
Just to be safe.
yeah, he's looking in but yeah, he's probably got you, he'll arrange he's like, you can ride in with me and my he said you can ride in with me. My crew's staying at the ship. They've got, plenty of work to do. Got a little singed on the last run. And got a couple of systems that need a bit of TLC, if you know what I mean. It's like, but like he's arranged like for a train, like to out to the dome, because they are connected by enclosed railways. It's probably like a hover train kind of thing. But yeah, he's gonna while he's kind of like he probably explains this to you. He's like, I got hover train tickets. If you want to ride in with me, he goes, it's like, besides, he goes, just follow me. And there's a station not far from here. Easy walking distance.
Sure.
Yeah. So like he kind of makes small talk while you guys walk to the hover train station. But once you're on and like you guys manage to like it's it's pretty bustling and packed, full of people. Because there's a lot of people going out there for this big event and whatnot. But he manages to find you guys a corner, and he kind of politely asks a few people to give you guys at least a little bit of space.
Hmm.
But he says, "Thought you might want to know. By the way, at some point you're gonna have to deal with some things, because my understanding is that Tyrus Guild's lawyers have been working overtime with the League of Helladis's law enforcement agencies. In fact, I've heard that his lawyers have been making movements too. I got a feeling. mm, It just seems like this is the way that the wind's blowing. I think he's about to actually file formal charges about that whole Clutchell incident.
Well, we've been ready for this. Well, or
Yeah.
at least trying to be ready. We can't really respond until we see their formal claims. I could think that they're going to be filing in one system when they could be filing another. They could be filing for wrongful manslaughter, for all I know.
They don't exactly recognize you as a sovereign state. You're probably
Sure.
going to be dealing with bounty hunters before you deal with anything else. And my understanding is they don't see you as a sovereign state either.
Yeah, fella, that bounty hunter
Yeah.
problem doesn't seem like it's going to go away on its own. What are we doing about that?
Ignoring it.
That's a terrible idea. What are we doing about that?
I spin slightly towards the side so that I can face you directly. Get down on one knee and go. So far, we've been ignoring it.
Right.
What would you like to do about it?
Well, I would probably say a immediate ceasefire for all bounty hunters on station, declaring the station a safe place for those there, informing the security team, and then creating a task force to deal with any further incursions.
Oh, technically, most of that stuff's already been done.
Oh, so we have an
It's,
official statement out there that bounty hunters are not allowed to bounty hunt on our station?
it hasn't really
No.
stopped them as far as you've seen
Yes.
situation
As
reports.
as far as it goes, we do not have sufficiently well-trained enforcement. Most of my enforcement is just about as good with a gun as you are.
That is troubling. Are there outside contractors we can hire?
That we can afford? Not at this time.
Then how do we make more money? Because listen, I can fuck this pig on the legal side, but you're gonna have to fuck the pig on the security side.
So, what I believe is coming is not good. Eh. And while, oh God, I've forgotten all my Starfinder gods. While Bismira will give me luck on my side, I can't promise that anyone else will survive. In fact, I can't even promise that Kid will survive. They almost got me when they offered me 100,000 credits. But he has been a loyal compatriot, as I scratch him behind his left ear. And because of that, I will not betray him for less than $1 million.
I go, what's my price then?
That depends. Have you figured out how to get rid of me after you betray Kid?
Kinda. She kinda takes a minute, looks off and thinks, and goes, fuck, no, I haven't.
Well, then, when you have more to tell me, let me know. Until then, we will take as many precautions as you think is necessary that the budget can afford. But past that, while we're here, we should really look for a bodyguard for Kib. I do have those funds set aside.
And one more question, because I feel a little OOL here. Why are we tracking down a xenoarchaeologist again?
Kib, that's on you.
Oh wait, Scott's off driving.
My apologies. So, it has something to do with one of the things that Kib hasn't even told me about. Or if he has, my brain has been asleep for the last 3 weeks. So, hey, that reminds me. How much time did it take us to get here?
Well, it's going to take you a few hours to get to a couple hours to go to Talos Dome.
Through drift.
Maybe about. How long did it take you I rolled that at the end of because
Oh yeah, that's
you didn't.
right. You did.
You get yeah. It took you 7 days to get here because instead of going back to the station, you came here.
Mm-hmm.
So I rolled that last time.
Right.
But it takes you a few hours. It takes you about 4 hours on hover train to get there to the dome.
Oh yeah,
Question: Is
Temerity's
there
is
someone I
what?
was supposed to check in when we got here? Do I have a
Uh,
guild obligation when I get here?
no, because the Durelium frontier is you're the first boss in the Durelium frontier.
Do I have any
So
subordinates to that should be checking in with me then?
pretty much all of your support. I mean, there may be a couple of operatives here and there, but you haven't really extended your reach into the Grimbuckle Syndicate's reach into the Verilax Concordance very much.
Okay, so we should. Well, that's not enough time to do it today. We'll do that tomorrow. Okay, and if it was written down last time, then I would have already changed the calendar, so we're caught up on what day it actually is. Um, Do you want to go shopping? Oh wait, we're on the train. Do you want to go to the dining car?
Is there a bar car in the dining car?
Yeah, there
I was going
is.
to say they are civilized.
Oh yeah, then I am definitely the second dining car is mentioned. Temerity is like up, pulls out a cred stick, and just
However,
almost hovers towards it. She's like, "It's been too long. I've gone at least an hour without a drink."
yeah, there's not much more space in the sort of like service car than there is in just the regular passenger cars. 'Cause it is packed. Whatever this event is that Detallo is throwing is big. And I think
Oh wait, before we actually, we're just in a regular service car. It's like 50 people. Or are we in
something
a?
like that.
Okay,
It's
so
you
how
don't have
much
like
more would it
you
have
don't
been
like
to get
have
a private car?
uh I think at this point there isn't really a way to do that
Okay, what
because
about a
it's such a big.
bathroom car?
There is a place where a car where there's a bathroom, but
Okay,
again,
well,
because it's a villa.
before.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Think of it like all of spring break is trying to pack into one hover train.
I understand that, but I assume
Yeah.
there's a stall for, personal business with a door.
Oh, if you have to go to the bathroom, yeah.
Okay. So the reason that I'm going to the bathroom is first, I haven't actually drained my bladder or my other parts in like a season and a half. So I'm going to do that. Ah! Ah! And then I
Oh,
take a sex change potion, alter my glamour, and then walk back out as a 8 foot tall man with glowing red eyes. Um,
okay.
okay, and then after I get out, I'm like, kid, go be something small. Uh, and then Kib will cast a spell when he returns, and then be able to do that. So, but since we're wanted in this system, we should probably try not to be so. Hey, look at me! I'm an 8 foot tall bald woman that has glowing red eyes.
Well, you don't have the time or place right at the moment to take 20, so you're going to have to
Nope, all I'm
you are
getting
gonna
is
have to
the
make
plus 10
actual. Yeah, so you're gonna have to make
for being a
the
man.
actual roll. Yeah. So I need a
Oh, well,
disguise
no.
roll.
Okay, well, I can do that, but just taking the sex change potion gives me a plus 10 because they're looking for a woman. But if you want me to.
Oh, it raises DC for others as opposed to lowering your DC.
So, there's a whole bunch with disguise, but yeah, so my total DC at the end of everything is what their DC is based off of. So, changing sex is a plus 10, doing a successful disguise check at 20 is, you're maxed out, blah. But what
Right.
did I get? I
19
got a
plus
19.
10,
That's not
29?
bad.
On the 19, so
So, yeah.
I am going to once Philip gets out of the bathroom, I'm gonna be like, oh, good idea, and I'm gonna go in and shapeshift into my current favorite shapeshift, which is a big orc.
Okay. And give me the roll.
A disguise roll?
Yep.
I don't
Because you
think
don't
that
have time.
there's.
You don't have time to take to take 20.
No, but
Well,
okay, hold
and
on. Let me look
I
up.
thought it was weird too, but I still made the roll.
Let me.
Hey, Kib is back and needs unmuted.
Oh, I got you. I've got like 4 things going on at once because apparently we had some stream troubles too. Okay.
Oh.
But I sorted those out. Don't worry. I will make that. But what is my bonus for being an Astrozoan? It does not list me having a bonus for that. It works as the disguise person spell, I believe.
Okay, so that's looking that adds I believe a plus 10.
Okay. Do, 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 do. If only. Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay, 43.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Okay. Can you
Welcome
hear me?
back. Yes, you are unmuted.
So, from the beginning of the day, my disguise is in the morning. So
Ah,
this
there we go.
whole time I've been the little white version with
Right.
white fur and
Do
what.
you, do you remember when we had that whole long talk about not being a Yusakai in disguise as a Yusakai?
I can't change my race though. I can change my height and the way I look with this spell. I can
Got it.
might look to where I look like a completely different Yusakai, but I cannot change my full race.
When we get back home, remind me we're going to mod you so we can fix that.
Because I could be a little bit shorter, a little bit fatter maybe, but
No, we want you to be as anorexic and like patchy as possible. We want you to look drugged out.
But here's the other thing to consider. Does anybody want to give me does anybody have any ranks in culture or would like to give me a
Ha!
culture roll here?
Temerity and I both laugh. Like, what do you mean? What's culture?
Yeah, I
Oh, wow,
laughed at
Temerity.
myself. I'm very hit or miss on my culture rolls.
Hey, look at that. No, no,
Hey.
no, 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 no. I did the
Wow.
best.
So, Philip, you culturally, temerity, Kib, maybe this is something that you guys haven't like Kib, you just sort of maybe have been oblivious to this because you've had other things going on. Temerity, you're kind of still a little newer than the other two. But Philip, the one thing you know is that the Verilax Concordance and the League of Helades have diplomatic relations, but they're not always the friendliest. In fact, if you mention that to Temerity, Temerity could actually make a lawyer check to see if they even have an extradition treaty or not.
Temerity, what are the extradition treaties currently in this system? Do you know?
I might.
So the extradition with League of Helades and the Verilax Concordance is tricky. Both of them are fairly competitive economically with each other. Militarily, they have come to some clash in the past, but what you actually know about it is that because they have a rocky history, the extradition treaties, there's no formal extradition treaty, which means there'd have to be a special hearing, which seems to be what they do in any real case that
It's okay.
involves extradition between the two.
Temerity, I know how to avoid extradition.
And part of that is because they do spy on each other a lot.
Ask me how.
How?
You headbutt the cop on the way to get extradited. And now you're up for charges for, hitting a cop. And because you're on that planet, that will overtake you getting extradited until you've been processed properly. What are you in for? Oh, technically, I was involved in a homicide with a diplomat's daughter, and they tried to extradite me, so I broke the cop's nose in 3 places.
Hmm.
Uh,
Worst case scenario. My apologies, Timothy. Where were we? Oh, yeah. Can I get this beautiful orc a drink?
yeah. So you're able to get drinks and stuff. I think I'm trying to think, is there anything further that Worthy would have to add right now? Not at
Oh,
the
yeah.
moment.
And also,
Sorry.
let me get Worthy and his people that are with him drinks too.
Most of his crew stayed at the ship. He's kind of traveling
Okay, so it's
solo.
just him?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
This,
then I get him a tall obsidian sunrise, and I assume that we're too far out to have Pebblebrook on a train.
yes.
So
Um,
I'll have. Oh. Let's see. Quartarzian sunset instead.
all right. Um, it would be, let's see.
I assume, 50 credits should cover it with the tip?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
In fact, I'll make it 60 credits.
Generous.
so yeah, you you manage to get to you when you get to you finally roll up to Detalo's dome, and when you get off of get out of the hover train at the station, it's just immediately like walking into what you might expect. I mean, maybe there's like some high you can hear many different styles of music going on around you. Um, like there you can hear stuff music coming from venues with their doors open. You can hear sounds coming from what appear to be clubs. You can see there are bars out on the street, sort of street side bars, street vendors. There's indoor places to eat. There's different like live venues. And this is a city where it's big enough to be a city, but few people actually live here, and most of them are sort of like the full-time staff that runs the place. There's a lot of people that sort of that hover train in and out for their shifts, but um, you know, there are people everywhere here, and there's maybe like a light show going on, and on part of the dome, sort of a laser light show kind of thing, and there's like whole bunch of music pumping, and there's you know uh like little fucking um carts that are driven by like sort of like robot the SROs and androids and what have you. And there's a that are going from place to place, and Worthy is like he kind of hails one down. He goes And he kinda there's a lot of noise going on. He kind of has to, like, raise his voice over. "So," he goes, "There's a lot of party to be had around here, and, if you're up for a bit of partying, this is a place to be in. But I imagine," he goes, "if you're wanting to take care of your business more pressing, we could try to get up down to the den, first. And Detallo himself, real hard to see, but,
Short person?
fortunately." No, no, no. Just really busy and keeps a very rarefied list of people he'll.
Well, in
Yeah.
that case, let's do that first.
He goes,
Temerity, just in case it comes up later, I will be your assist role, and you will do the talk.
well, fortunately,
Sure.
you shouldn't have to try to see Detallo, is what I was about to say.
Oh, well,
Most of
that's good.
his most of his celebrity guests will probably be in the penthouse or around the den and in the official parties and stuff. He only makes his own public appearance when he's at the when he'll only make his public appearances when he feels he's the most dramatically appropriate.
My kind of man.
Like I say, you shouldn't need to talk to him for anything unless you run into some kind of trouble. Then he's probably the one you'll have to beg for forgiveness. But
Now, what
far
kind
as
of forgiveness? Are we talking like get a fine or like lose an arm forgiveness?
well,
Lose a brain.
Oh,
it depends on what you did. If he has his own security take care of you, it kind of is up in the air. But if he feels like, but he also could you call in. He also could call in from the official Verilax, police force, the official police force to deal with stuff if he needs to.
Look, all I'm trying to do is meet the doctor and make sure he's not dead. Or talk
Oh
to him
well,
before he gets killed.
he
That's
goes.
it.
We're getting to evening time. It's starting to be rolling into evening time now, so we should be. If all the celebrity guests that are going to be there will probably be there. Uh, and like, and he kind of pays the cart driver to for his services. He's like to the high rise. And
To the high rise.
he's like that's where we're headed. And the android looks back and says looks back from the sort of driver's seat and says, "Ah." He goes, "Very good." And as soon as you're all loaded in, we'll head that way.
After you, dear.
are you calling me or Kip, dear?
Uh, I always call Kib sweetie, so you're definitely dear.
Yeah, I will. I'll definitely lead the way, and Temerity is looking. Even though she is dressed as and disguised as a massive orc, she still has the like super like luxe business suit, the swagger hand cannon on the side, like walking with
The
a
cane.
sword cane without the cane or without the sword.
Yeah. Okay. It's like yeah, it takes it takes a few minutes to get across the city, smelling the smells, the hearing the sounds, seeing the sights, lights everywhere, neon lights and smell of, hundreds of different exotic foods. And you're pretty sure you smell a few, illegal substances in the air as well. Uh, but you
Ah, the sweet, sweet Kush.
but you make it to the high rise and there, with the big, logo at the top, D apostrophe T ALLO apostrophe S, and like you get to the front door, um, and there's a and I think Captain Worthy kind of like talks to the door guy for a minute and he's like, hey, it's like I have well he goes, hey, he like when he sees the guy, he's like, oh hey, he goes, I was hoping you might be on the door tonight. He he gives the other man a bit, it's a human, another other guy a big hug, and he's like, how have you been? He asks, makes some small talk for a minute, and he's like, hey, so I have some friends here. They're business looking for some rather lucrative business opportunities, and he kind of does the whole, sort of like money sort of symbol, like like fingers and the forefinger and thumb like thing. And he's like, and he goes, I see, and you know, he kind of he's like, and Worthy's like, you understand how this works, and they have a couple of talks, a couple of minutes, a hushed conversation. Pretty soon, come back around and goes, oh, we're good, and you're allowed through the door.
Shit,
And there's a, huh?
you're a good friend to have, Worthy. Thank you much.
I just know a few people here and there. It pays to make friends in my line of business. You never know who you're going to need. in a
Well,
pinch.
remind me the next time you have a wedding registry to buy you something nice, like a toaster or something.
Ha ha ha.
He just chuckles at that.
Eh.
The-
Jessa,
yeah.
in canon, I text Ha because I'd forgotten to do so before we got to this point, and tell him to activate his Sentinel fusion.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a precaution.
And you
Reasonable.
managed. You go through, the hallways and make it to the elevator, and of course the elevator, is very nice. There's a actual attendant in there, and what have you.
I tipped the
They,
attendant 20 credits.
yeah, they're pretty thankful for
Actually,
that.
once again, we're in a fancy place. 50 credits.
All right, cool. Yeah, you get to the top, and you make a few more, uh, and Worthy kind of schmoozes a couple of more people, and you kind of get out on the big, sort of like um, roof patio area where there's a DJ playing some kind of electronic pop, hype pop. You know, there's but everybody here is dressed in a way that makes them either look very important or very unique. Like they're the people wearing the high fashion choices that only those who are rich can get away with due to either the constraints of cost or the constraints of being able to ignore people who want to laugh at them.
Wait,
But
Mm.
so there's like forgive me, the extradition, back to that earlier. There's no extradition, was that correct?
there's no official extradition. Any extraditions that they've had with the Verilax Concordance have gone to a hearing.
Oh,
Have
Sounds like a
been
lot
great.
of palm greasing goes on during such things.
Yeah, and
yeah,
I'm their lawyer anyway. I haven't done anything legal with these guys yet.
right.
Uh Temerity is going to find the nearest bathroom and just turn back into Temerity. I don't know why I'm disguised.
Okay, all right,
I,
yeah.
d- I mean,
Oh, wait.
like,
I know why
oh,
you're in disguise. Because we
oh,
got in disguise.
that's right. That's just my natural Astrozoan proclivities. I saw people disguising up, and I was like, oh shit,
Well,
disguise time?
and honestly, Temerity, your orc form is not only adequate for the surroundings that we're in, regardless of how well dressed you are,
Mm-hmm.
but if Temerity is here, perhaps they're nearby as well.
Ooh, good point, good point. I'm a representative of Temeritus at law.
Yes, your junior
Yeah.
partner, whatever random name you come up with.
Yeah. Kolthog, attorney at law.
Yeah.
Cole
You're
Thog, junior partner, attorney at law.
so you're so yeah, and I think that Worthy kind of looks around the room as you guys kind of like looks around the patio as you guys are out there, and he says, "I'm going to have to mingle a bit and leave you to your
Mm.
devices." Says there's a and he kind of gestures around and he goes, "I would be careful here. Not everybody is exactly who they are at all times. Some of them aren't who they are when they are who they are. If you catch my drift,
Uh,
there's a lot of sharks in this tank. If you to borrow to utilize an old human expression."
okay. After Worthy says that, I turn and I lean down to Kib, and I'm like, "Sweetie, what he just said translated into Isekai, and I say it in Isekai is shut the fuck up."
Yeah. So my plan was it kind of whispers it. I was just gonna get a private meeting with the doctor so we could talk one on one, him and me, so no one else can know. But I gotta find the doctor, so I'm gonna be
Right.
quiet
Well,
until we
we're
find
we're
him.
doing all of this to try to find the doctor.
I
Right.
think, yeah, I think before Worthy leaves you, he says, "Before I leave you, a word towards your more business more minded side." He says, I'd like to introduce you to a couple of friends of mine. He says, actually, he says, I. He's not going to make the personal introduction. He goes, "Well, I figured I'd point a couple of folks out that may be of some interest to you." And he points across the room to a human who's dressed. His suit looks like it's ill-fitting, or he is ill-comforted in it.
Mm.
And he seems to be a bit distracted. His hair is a little unkempt, and he's kind of scratching himself, sort of
A
scratching
human
his back.
version of Crinville?
He's scratching. No, Prinville is more put together than this guy. Like his disheveled is more of a I didn't take the time to tuck myself all together. This guy is more like he doesn't really quite know how. Like you can tell somebody who's never worn a suit from somebody who wears a suit but wears it casually and doesn't take it super serious. So this is a
Okay.
guy who looks like
So
he
he looks
doesn't
a
wear
guy
it
like a guy
super.
that doesn't belong here at all.
He kind of looks like, and he goes, "That man over there, his name is Captain Hebry. You may find his services of some use given your businesses." And
Yeah.
and he looks around and he points at an android woman and he goes, "And that one over there, I believe, was looking for some business opportunities, um, looking to establish some sort of escorting or brothel, I believe. Mm, so if you're looking to bring in new business,
Hmm.
I would say they're of some interest."
Okay. Write their names down in chat so we don't get them wrong.
So
And then temerity. Should we deal with disheveled human or pretty android?
What's the
he
disheveled
didn't give
human's
you,
business again?
but he didn't say. He just,
Didn't
and
say.
it's kind of the last thing that and he didn't give
Well,
you the name of the android woman either. He just
Hmm.
pointed them out and went to mingle.
okay.
Well,
I wave.
I like skin as an industry. It makes money, could generate the capital that we need, and some more tourist interest.
As far as that goes, we have a Starbucks in the mall.
Ha!
Sorry, random reference
Rondo.
to a movie.
Rondo's got what plants
Yeah,
crave.
yeah. Electrolytes. Oh yeah. All right. Anyway, so I mean, I'm sure that there's a small prostitution ring on board that we haven't really paid much attention to. But you're right. We should probably class it up. But after all of that, let's go with disheveled human and see if I can sleight of hand to get him to be more presentable while you're talking to him.
Alright. You're the councilwoman.
Oh, and with that
And
said, here's
yeah.
my help check. It's not
Uh
very good.
so Kothog is going to walk up to this guy and what is this guy doing right now?
Right now, he kind of is looking around the room. Like he's got a drink in one hand and he's absently scratching his neck with the other one. It, at, a, at some point, he takes his hand away from scratching his neck and kind of scratches and kind of scratches his butt and thinks about and then realizes what he's doing and stops and then stands there for a few minutes stands there for a couple of moments looking around and then begins to scratch like behind his ear. um but he just seems like there's yeah just it's kind of one of those things. But yeah, you're approaching him.
Yeah. I'll approach and I will open up with a very casual sigh as I like light a cigarette and like kind of lean up against whatever wall he's near.
Death stick.
Hmm.
Be like What a party, eh? Kind of like smirking.
He kind of looks around and is like, yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know a lot about parties. I don't go to them very often. He kind of scratches his nose. There's
Yeah.
a, there's a, more, more, more here for, business than anything else. Well,
Hmm.
waiting to talk to, some people, I guess.
Hmm.
He kind of, uh, he's like, and he kind of looks around and is like, I mean, do you think it's a good party? I don't know how to judge it. And kind of scratches his chest.
Yeah, I kind of look around, and I'm like, well, got good party favors, beautiful people. Music's alright, probably give me a headache later. But, yeah, I'd say it's pretty decent. For a highfalutin affair, it could be a little better. Kind of take a drag.
He goes, I guess he's like, I guess you're right. And he kind of like scratches his left arm. He's like, I guess you're right. I mean, I don't really loud for me. I kind of, I prefer quiet or sort of, um, there's a lot of, there are a lot of beautiful people here. I mean, of course, at least for now. I mean, when yeah, everybody can be, lots of people are beautiful when they're alive. And yeah, he kind of he seems like super awkward.
Who the
He,
fuck is this guy? I'm gonna just straight up make a diplomacy and just introduce myself. Because I really
okay.
want to know what the fuck this guy's deal is. Yeah, I'm gonna reach forward and be like, Colthog, attorney at law. I happen to be a representative of a few places as well. Here you're, or said you're here about business?
Yeah, yeah. So you're a lawyer, huh? So because so that's kind of because I bet you get paid a lot of money, huh?
He kind of smirks and goes, eh, it's not as much as you would be surprised, he says. He goes,
Uh,
I definitely snort when he says paid a lot.
yeah.
and he kind he kind of he stops for a minute and looks around. He kind of then he scratches the back of his neck. He's like, "Oh, because uh, I'm Captain Hebry. I don't have a Hebry's, sort of my only name. I don't really have like a last name like some people do. I just go by Hebry. So I'm the captain of the Stilled Lung. I I procure samples, specimens uh, for scholars and scientists working on projects, experiments, and the like.
uh,
Ooh,
yeah.
candy.
It's like it's good money when you've got steady work, but sometimes people don't really like to. They don't look at my business as being. Well, let's just say it's. I've had to have a lawyer once or twice. It's, they some of the laws around some of this stuff. I mean, they're quick to utilize the services of somebody like me, sort of when nobody's looking or paying attention. But the moment it comes into light, nobody's heard of you. Sort of, oh, I don't know anything about this guy. Oh, I don't know anything about with the stuff in his cargo hold. So they.
Oh, yeah. You
mm,
wouldn't believe the amount of clients I've had who've had the same story. You know, if I were a betting man, Colthog says, he goes, I would bet that the specimens that you get, some people, not all, but some people, might consider ethically questionable.
I mean, yeah, you might say that. I mean, and a lot of people, I mean, it's let's see, you rolled well enough, and he's like, "Cause look, he goes, I'm gonna be real, just honest and level with you here.
Hmm.
My crew and I, we secure non-living specimens to some of the scientists here for some of their weird experiments. I mean, it's not glamorous, and people don't really like you, and sometimes there's legal trouble, but they pay when they're willing to take delivery. Things go right. Somebody's got to do it, or I mean, where do we get the magical advancements from? Scientific advancements, and people like me. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
want to call hmm,
I look over at Fellup with a big grin on my face and go, "You ever heard of Freewheel Station?"
right, freewheel station it's a freewheel. Is that the place up? What's it, the drainage system?
Hmm.
You use, people used to lots of different pirates and drifters and criminals and refugees and people. They used to use it. Hey, they were run by some people that took out, so the Red Booters, was it? Yeah, so I knew a guy that worked for the Red Booters. It's kind of a professional acquaintance. I like him a whole lot. I say.
Hmm.
But,
It
yeah.
sounds like after the new management took over, you lost a professional acquaintance, eh?
Oh, well, I mean, there's a little bit of sometimes you funnel some, information back to me. So overdoses, people that had, uh, you know, angered the Red Booters. Yeah, they was like, I mean, I didn't figure anybody was going to really, raise as much of a fuss over, uh, drug overdose, junkies, and,
Hmm.
dead criminals.
Well, I happen to know a few people who are important out at Freewheel Station now. Folks who, might be open to a business relationship. A fairly lucrative one at that.
Oh, is that, so is there, people, or is there, get me, it's like a meeting or something, or pass a message along, or like,
Yeah, I happen to know the current hotshot lawyer I actually work under. Her name's Temerity. Great at what she does, but she also is handling a lot of the day to day out there. And I'm sure, no, not just sure, I'm positive that she would be very interesting in having a few words with you.
oh, wow, that sounds like I'm always up for more steady work. So, the more the more people are willing to pay for your services, the more you can stay in business.
I'm
So,
gonna take out a card and I'm gonna
mhm,
hand him a Temeritus at Law card.
yeah,
After scribbling Temerity's comlink on it, I'm gonna
okay.
say, next time you're out there, give that number a call. We should be more than happy to set something up, and I'll kind of lean in and say, something you might not know is they're not unfamiliar with corpse recyclers out there. I think you'll fit right in.
Yeah, well, that'd be, yeah, it sounds like a pretty good deal. He puts his drink down and, takes the card and absently scratches at his neck while he looks at it. He goes, goes, I'll have to remember that, and see if I can. And he says, yeah, I'll look him up. Thanks, pal. It's kind of thing I was here for, to find work.
Kind of nod and go, "Ain't we all, bud? Ain't we all?" And I shake his hand.
Yeah, he shakes your hand. Um, it's yeah. He's
I look
he's
at. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go first.
I was about to say, I look at Fellup, probably after getting a little distance from him, and go, well, what do you think?
He has several ticks that would suggest that he's a little unstable. But
Are we all?
Yeah.
if he can acquire pre-gap stuff for us, that's a bonus, I guess.
Well, I was figuring he could handle a little bit of waste disposal for us. More people who live here, more bodies are going to pile up. And as much as I'd like to say they all get funerals, some people just don't.
Dear, remember when you were like, we're in a place where corpse recyclers are a thing.
Yeah?
Nothing ever goes to waste. And
Yeah.
the way that our laws are technically set up on station right now, it's pretty much like if you fuck up hard enough, we just throw you away because we don't want to deal with you.
Yeah, Temerity will kind of, or Korthog will kind of chuckle at that, and be like, "Well, I took lead on that one.
Hmm.
You want to give it a spin?"
Sure, we can try.
Yeah, I'll give a diplomacy roll to back up whatever you do.
I'm glad yours is that high.
Yeah,
Let us
yeah.
pray.
Let us pray.
Oh, Bismira, grant me luck in this occasion, since we have a bad history with talking to androids.
Hey!
Thank you, Bismira.
Wow, it's a good thing that you did this, not me. Korthog has had a few too many drinks.
Greetings
So
and salutations from Lichdom Incorporation.
yeah, she's this android woman is dressed in like very like sort of flowy like a sort of a flowy dress. It's fairly sheer.
Mm.
She's wearing sort of like some skin tight clothing underneath it, but it's fairly skimpy. Um, and she kind of turns around and she was talking to a group of people who, sort of as you approach, sort of disperse. Um, and and when you greet her, she turns around and she goes, "Oh," she goes, she goes, "And you are?"
You know, because it's you, I really want to say something just super simple. So let's go with my name is Tavares. I'm a representative from Lichdom Incorporation. It's nice to meet you.
It's
And
always a
you are?
pleasure to meet. My name is Bree. Bree. First name Bree, last name Zee. I threw off my shackled name when I left the Garin Empire. I'm looking for and she says I've been bouncing around trying to find uh opportunities of late. She goes, "What brings you to Talos Dome? This this is an incredible celebration. But why so far from the Drage system?"
Oh, we're looking for. He's a xenoarchaeologist, right, kid? I don't say kid.
Yes.
Right, sweetie? Yes, we have some interesting runes. No, not runes. Ruins on one of the planets in the system, and it sparked enough of our interest that we wanted a professional there. And we were told we could find someone that would be adequate for the job here.
Oh, I don't know much about who's what and where, but I do believe there are some intellectuals that have been. I do believe those two over there have been having something of a rather intellectual discussion. Seems a bit over my head for some time now. Um, and she gestures over to like there's a sort of like a alcove, like, or that there's a small group of people sitting, but actually there's only a couple of people sitting. Give me
Perception?
actually. Yeah,
Did you
actually,
say?
no, you won't need actually any checks here because Kib, you and Philip immediately like recognize one of them. Like one of them is a halfling who is sitting there, who's
Oh,
talking,
is
sitting
it our
talking.
old enemy?
There's 4 people. Hold on, there's 4 people sitting there. One of which is or 2 of which are standing. One of which is the 2 standing are a Zolgath, which are lizard reptilian humanoids that were kept as slaves by the Drow for many, many years. Um, who appears to be armed, and they're often hired out as bodyguards and mercenaries. So you're assuming that this one's providing some kind of security. There is a halfling who, you know, who's dressed well enough, you know, and talking, and he's looking at a data slate, which he hands back to someone you recognize, and maybe you recognize their guard, the android known as Sapphire 8, who is the bodyguard for one Dr. Sigvid, a Sheeran who is the Sheeran that is the lead scientist for the Versped Research Collective on the in the
Ah,
at the Protomol station in the Resum system. Um, and they're talking, um, and the halfling hands a data slate back to Dr. Sigvid, who continues to and they continue to talk for a minute. You can't hear what they're saying over the like sound system, like all of the people talking and the DJ and what have you. Um, but they seem to be having a serious conversation. Um, now you can give me a perception check.
okay. While you were doing all that, I was making
Merity and
sure I.
Kib as
Oh,
well.
look at Temerity.
Oh,
That means I'll roll
oh,
in this
damn.
time. Look at Kib.
Oh,
Aw.
damn. So,
Oh, hang on. There's one more perception. My eyes. He has his own character sheet. Ah,
all right.
there we go. Did he do better than me?
He did better than you.
Good.
Did
Kib and Temerity. Both of you notice that there is an elf, relatively, who seems to be dressed, uh, dressed kind of like dressed well. That he's also fairly well dressed, but his tones and the tones and stuff of his suit are a bit more sober. They look more like somebody who has a suit, but it's maybe it's not the highest fashion like some of the other people wearing suits here. It's a nice suit, you know, not great. I mean, it's nice, and it's a little out of fashion. Um, that seems to be watching like Dr. Sigvit and this halfling talking, and there's a bit of and um, this elf appears to be well. Uh, you've actually, Philip, you've run across one of these elves before, a Nech Sidaran elf, sometimes known as venom elves or poison elves.
It's not
Um,
the one from
No, it's not the
Okay.
one from. It's not the one that's works with the council.
Okay.
Um, but they like
He's the one that occasionally people pay to kill people, right?
yeah. This one, he's got his hair tied back. And you can see that like there's sort of like a thing like maybe people are aware of that the Nech'Sadar elves seem to be in some sort of genetic evolution. So they've kind of, but they're like the skin, this elf skin is sort of a model, like a gray, like a green with some gray and brown modeling in places, and the hair is straight up black, and the eyes, have something of a reptilian look to them.
Okay.
But he seems to be paying a good deal of attention to Dr. Sigvit and the halfling.
And I didn't notice any of that anyway. Neither did Ha. So, unless they tell me. So, back to this woman. What,
Mhm.
Breezy.
Breezy.
Yeah, still funny.
Yeah,
Um,
she's
Let me
like,
see.
yeah, I think she's like, are you in? She says, are you or your friends in need of companionship? I might know some folks. And she is a
Um,
android,
that's
but
right. I remember you said she was a brothel, madam. Well, you
yeah,
didn't use those words, but that's the equivalent. I'm like, actually, I did hear that you were the person to talk to about such things. Um, as I said, we are from the Drage system, and we have well, most people would call it a mall, but it definitely has shops that you wouldn't find in a normal mall. And
Bombs. We have bombs.
those two.
That's my nat one speaking.
she kind of looks at
Uh,
you like dismayed for a second, and then goes back to paying attention to
Not on me.
Stella.
Sorry.
She's
I
just
should
kind of
have.
like,
Not
like,
here.
what
Yeah.
bombs?
Not
Like,
not
uh,
what does
not
this
here.
have to do
Sorry
with anything?
about yeah. Yeah.
my apologies for my associate. Occasionally, even though they're silver tongued. Wow, silver tongued. I check out these apps.
I've
Um,
got a silver tongue.
but let's try again. Even though my associate is fairly silver tongued, occasionally they just blurt things out. I'd almost say Tourette's, but not quite that bad. Um, but yes, we're looking for people to set up shop there.
She
Um,
goes, yeah, go ahead.
while that's going on, I'm going to attempt to slide a hand to do the android abolition fucking secret sign.
And she
That
just
is
kind
not a 14. Like, yeah.
of,
So if she doesn't respond, then we just keep going. If she responds with the same sign, then we have different things to talk about at a later time. So,
she kind of uh she kind of moves on. She's like, the shops you say, I'm I don't exactly have an inventory. I'm just and there's something about like you can kind of tell like
ooh, can I do a sense motive
being
to see if her motives change?
be a
Eh.
yeah um you being a technomancer or being a mechanic and Kib being a technomancer, you guys can pretty easily tell that she was built as a companion model.
Hmm.
Um,
Ah.
and she's like, well, I don't have any physical merchandise in the traditional sense. I fear I don't really have a lot to say about inventory in the way that most would. I have certain skills and abilities. I've know a great deal about comfort and companionship and she says and passion, and I am but a simple android with a dream, aspirations, if you will. I would love to. I wish to run an establishment that offers such things. I already know a few girls, and however, the competition here seems to be a bit, well, stiff. If,
Oh, we're
and
we're lonely out there.
not
I
in a
mean,
not in the it seems to be a bit
There's that
and
one
not in
again.
the yeah and not in the right way. It's just like
yeah,
she's like seems to be a bit the well, let's just say the market seems to be a little tight.
Oversaturated?
Oversaturated is a good word.
yeah. We can let's just keep doing innuendos all night. Like,
Let's
Mm.
do that. Let's do
uh,
that. Um,
So, uh, no, kid would have that on him. Kid, or sorry, sweetie, would you please PDF file our basic to this nice Android?
Okay, so when you look to where Kib was,
Oh,
he's
you're
not
gone.
there. He slipped away to go talk to the halfling.
Ah,
right.
and Haas perception was kind of crap, so
I
I'll just be like,
I
okay.
I probably have all of our like basic onboarding for business stuff, right? Like, I've taken a pretty vested interest.
That's true. You've been in charge for a couple months now. Look at you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like a bona
So
fide crew member now.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'll send the paperwork instead. The not paperwork, but like the very basic. Like, here's the outline of what we have out there.
okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
Um,
Oh, and see if you can find what we believe the current population for the
Oh,
area.
yeah. Yeah. I think Temerity would also take a vested interest in demographics. So I'm sure Temerity has a rough number. You know, at
Mm,
least of registered passengers or whatever.
right.
So yeah, Temerity will
Remind
stay
me that
curious.
when we get back, I need to make Nimbus's job.
Oh God, Ninvis the census taker. Jesus
Mm-hmm.
Christ.
oh Lord.
So,
Hey,
how many of you live here? Well, my grandchild lived here. This. Yeah, that's nice. How many of you lived here?
This would probably be more like, oh, how old? Oh, wow. This, that, and the other. He'd get into a stupid conversation.
Ah, he'd be the
Something
best
that
but
census taker. He'd
he'd
get
be
nothing done.
he'd pry too much, and people would just be like, dude, fuck off.
mm,
He's
uh,
socially awkward.
oh, that's
Um,
good.
he's the guy who thinks he's your friend when he's just kind of annoying.
That's why I love Ninvis.
yes, I also love Nimbus. Eventually, he'll be a lieutenant, even though he's kind of dumb.
So you go over to talk to the halfling. I think Dr. Sigvit, as you walk up, looks up and sees you, and like there's a moment of recognition on his face. There, like sees you and recognizes you. Um,
Do
and
you roll for that?
chucks, well,
You
Kib
know what I
wasn't
mean.
Kib wasn't hiding anything as he was walking up, but he.
Well, he's still technically disguised by his spell, though.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, he looks at. Well, he sees somebody approaching, and he gets
Mm.
up. He gets up and goes to walk away. I suppose I could make a roll for him, but he doesn't really have. I think it's a. Well, maybe he does. Let's see. 'Cause that's a.
It'd be a perception check, I believe.
You
Wouldn't be bad for a scientist to have good perception. Hey, that's good perception. But I think his is what? What's your
yeah.
DC for the spell, kid?
I was trying to look at that, and I think it was 15 is what I rolled. Or wait,
Not
trying
rolling.
to look.
Gibbs
Yes.
disguise. Yeah, it would have been a 15. Yeah.
Yeah, 15.
So yeah.
So
All right.
he recognizes you. And he looks at you, and as he recognizes you, but he doesn't say anything immediately. He grabs his slate and tucks it away. He tucks it into his coat as he picks up, and he shakes hands with the halfling. And as he walks by, and as he walks by you, uh, he kind of gives you a slight nod, and sort of and telepathically says to you, Mr. Kib, good evening, Mr. Kib, and keeps walking unless you stop him to talk.
I just look at him. Kind of just look at him and just let him go because I'm kind of trying to be somebody else at the moment. All right, it's fine. Okay, go talk to him. Mentally having these thoughts, and I walk over to the little halfling person.
All right. I need to check something here.
No checking.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you walk over to talk to the halfling, who looks up at you and kind of um and he goes to he goes to pick up his drink. He goes to pick up his drink and kind of fumbles it for a minute, and um before catching it, he looks at you and goes, "Oh, hello. Hey, what's going on? I was having and he lets out like a he goes, "Oh, hold on." He goes, one moment." And he lets out a massive belch. Uh and then and he goes, "Oh, so much better, so much better." He takes a drink and puts his drink from his glass, and takes a drink and puts a drink back down. Um
Oh, we don't have to be
Philip,
that formal. Okay, cool.
Yes, I'm Philip.
yes, you see Dr. Sigvet as he passes by Kib, but you don't receive the telepathic communicate. Um, you don't receive the telepathic communication. So,
Hmm.
where's your disguise? Oh no, actually, yeah, I saw it through. You probably do receive a telepathic communication from him. It's like just a Ms. good evening, Ms. Depot. But he doesn't really like. He glances in your way. He briefly, when he telepathically communicates with you, but he doesn't make any motion to start a conversation with you. Other than that,
All right. So just so you are reminded, while my disguise check was 19, I'm also which added the.
okay, then you wouldn't receive that. He wouldn't have recognized who you were.
I
But
apologize. I'm just
but Kib, but
but yeah, Kibby made.
yeah, Kibby, he yeah.
Sorry, but I'll make mental note of having seen them. But talking
He
lady
has
named Breezy.
he has pretty much no chance to discover that temerity is temerity. Like, he might recognize from video feed, but this guy's check is far too high. Like,
Yeah.
for so um but yeah, uh
Huh.
Kibby, like the halfling's like, hello, hi, this is oh, well, who are you with? He goes,
Well, knowing who I'm from is Forget it. I'm with Free Real Station, and
Right.
there's a slight
Hmm.
problem. I think somebody's trying to kill you
But killed me? How about I couldn't even imagine why. Well, what could I have possibly done to anybody?
because you're on a list with one of my former captains,
Oh
and
wow, they're
Technically,
trying to get us killed.
well,
Oh yeah.
technically, you know about Dr. Parish Orask because he's a xenoarchaeologist who specializes in Terevian history,
oh yeah.
which
So So the other thing is we wanted to learn more about this Terevian thing because it correlates with some other stuff. And my brain can't think of what it was, but we wanted more understanding of the whole Terevian thing because
well,
you seem to be a specialist in it, and that's something that seems like really cool to understand. And I would like to pick your brain, like to sit down and learn what you know about the whole Terevian area.
so, well, I mean, and, I've got a lot of research on Torrevia. I mean, it's not a lot of people study Torrevia. There's a lot, uh, little known fact. There are so many different theories about Torrevia, what happened to it, where it went, how big was it, where it spanned, how they, what kinds of plants they had to use to create that they had to have processed from to make their nectar. There's so many things, fascinating things about there, and you know, I have a number of theories, some of which haven't exactly been accepted by the, sort of like greater academia, mostly because there's not much focus on Torrevia these days. Uh, I've written a number of papers on it. Is there something specific you would like to know? I mean, I could tell you all about uh, the the writings of the Torrevians. Uh, from different historical periods. We only have a gauge of what we can only really talk about them in terms of estimations of how long before the gap they may have existed. But we do have classified certain eras. The most classical era when their fresh beginnings, the launch into space, the Gilded Era, the and then the era of the downfall, which creates the most amount of speculation. Some scholars believe that there was a power struggle between the political leaders, but I have found a number of writings and research that suggest otherwise. That there was something much much more disturbing that happened to them. I believe that their empire fell in
Okay,
on itself.
okay.
Uh,
So this is what I want to do. I have notes and stuff of my own on of trivia, of things that I've uncovered from being on what's left of the planet. Um, and I want to set up a time outside of this where we could sit down and compare your knowledge of the Ter- Tervenia existence with what I found on the planet and how that correlates together. So we
Planet?
need to.
Are you sure it's Terevian? And how do you know? I
Because
would
it
very
was
much love to visit this site.
on.
If it is, in fact, authentic, I would very much like to take a look at it. Uh,
I
perhaps I
got
could.
yeah, I got data on when I was there. The stuff I tried to collect, it was a little sparse and hard to understand because I don't have your vast knowledge of the specific systems that it was there. So with your knowledge on it, we could better understand it and maybe I don't know. I think my brain just escaped what I was thinking. Ugh, I hate when that happens. Anyway, but we could sit together and have something cool.
uh, I would be more than excited to go over any notes you may happen to have about Terevia. Investigate if you have leads that have not been explored by the the more accepted academia, I would love to have first crack at it. Where would what would this entail? How does this? He goes, and he looks up at his at the like the Zolgath beside him, and he's like, uh, Izuf, I believe we may have some. And then he goes, uh, be on extra guard. If somebody is trying to kill me for any reason or whatnot, I need you to be on extra attention. And sort of the Zolgath kind of looks at him for a minute and then begins to look or scan the crowd a little bit more. He's like,
Okay, so here's another thought process. Do you have your own transport to like get around? I have a ship that we could fly there. I didn't know if you have your own ship that you can come to Free Will Station and we have a conference room. We could just sit down and spread out all the paper. I do it on papers. I got some stuff in data pads, but a lot of times I like that physical paper thing to spread out my notes and stuff. And we could spread out all those papers and we could just, spend hours and just go over and fully investigate into the information. I didn't know if you have your own ship or I
no,
don't know.
I took a commercial vessel here. I paid for my transport out here. The gentleman over there wanted to consult me. I said, it seems to be a very popular topic these days. The Tarivia, at least here in the Drage system. You're not the first person who asked me about it yet. In fact, he goes, but if you have additional information and research, I would certainly love to be able to look at it and give it my analysis. In fact, uh,
Wait,
it
so
might be close
what
enough
if
to.
what if you came with us and we went back to our station? You bring fun lizard man. He looks awesome. He'd probably protect me too, but that's beside a whole nother sore subject somewhere else. But anyway, you can come, we can transport you there, and then we could spread all the notes out and then just delve into this like total sciency stuff.
Yes. He goes, well, that sounds absolutely amazing. I mean, I am scheduled to give a cinema a, s- I am scheduled for an event tomorrow in the in the port city. But if you are going to be here for a few days or perhaps uh, yeah, I would certainly love to join you.
Hmm. Few days. I, let me. Yeah, I'd have to work out the details, but here, this number, like I hand him a little card that I just jot down my personal call
Mhm.
number on because I don't have
Yep.
cards because I'm not as special. But I
Okay.
just like here, this number will get a hold of me. Um,
Can I say
and do
I've
that.
given can I say I've given Kib like a stack of Temeritus at law cards to like write his own number on the back of?
Yeah.
That would
If
work.
you,
And I write my personal number on the back, and I don't even show him the front side. I was like, "This number is me."
what do you, my name is Dr. Pargish Orask. What is your name, sir?
Okay, my name's Kib.
Kib. Excellent, excellent, Mr. Kib. I look forward to working with you on this. And uh, but yeah, he says he kind of like gathers himself a little bit, and he goes, I he goes, I will definitely give you a call. I'm I I'm looking forward to this. I haven't had a breakthrough in it's well in a while. He seems very pleased with this.
Okay, as he's getting up to go up, I kind of do stand up too and kind of do like the eager handshake, like
Mhm. Yeah.
massively excited handshake. Like, this is awesome.
Oh, he
And
responds in kind.
and I just like, yeah, this. Let me know when you're done with your little conference meeting, whatever it is, and we'll be available. I'll be available. Yeah, and we'll get you to where we can iron this all out. Good day, lizard
So I
guys.
so I think like maybe like he like as you're like sort of like as you're sort of like moving through the crowd, like um Temerity and Philip, like you've kind of like a crowd is sort of like formed around you, like people that were talking to each other and stopped where you're at and like included you in some inane conversation about whatever it is they're talking about, fashion or the latest DJs or some kind of music or whatnot. And there's but Hib, as you're walking back, sort of across the room, that elf, you feel a tug at your shoulder, like you feel a tug at your shoulder. And when you turn around and look, that elf that was watching Dr. Sigvit and Dr. Orask um, w- uh, is kind of like looking at you, and he goes, "We need to talk." And he kind of like he goes, "Privately, come with me if you will." He kind of like gestures over towards like a bar, sort of in the like on the corner of the patio.
Is there like a sense motive that where to go? I'm gonna do
It's
forward.
under sense.
And he
Yeah.
says, "I know who you are, but you don't have to worry about me."
Okay. Uh. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Let's go.
yeah. So he kind of pulls you over to the bar, like grabs a couple of drinks, and then and kind of like finds a corner for you guys to speak in, and he goes, "My name is Savant Lavaris." Put that in here. Where is it? He goes, "I'm with." He goes, "I'm with Verilax Internal Security. I'm investigating some things that some crimes, murders, several murders and disappearances of rather high-profile individuals. I believe they may be." He says. I believe they may be tied together, and I believe you know at least one of the victims. Do you know a man named Sothki Marins? Sothki Marins was Captain Hurlig's contact that you met here before. The one who sent you like the
Oh.
message with
Okay.
the accounts and stuff and the information, all the his information and stuff.
Uh. I think I met him once. Yeah.
Well,
Well, maybe. Uh, that name's kind of weird. I might remember it.
my sources tell me that you were seen speaking to one Sothki Marins last time you were here. And
Yeah,
he
he
kind of
doesn't do very well at trying to disguise that he doesn't have a clue who it is.
yeah, he's like my sources. He goes, "Don't play dumb. My sources tell me that you had a conversation with him, rather private and somewhat extended conversation." Says, "I'm not. I believe the disappearance of one Sothki Marins is related to these other crimes, to these other murders." And he says, "Do any of these names look familiar to you?" And he holds out like a data slate for you to look at.
That look at it. I'm guessing 90% of the names are on that data slate. Or on
Several of
the
the at least
blacklist thing.
at least three names that you recognize from your list are on his list. He says, he goes, you do you say anything?
He kind of look. Kim kind of looks at it and he's like, "A few of them I might know. I don't personally know them, but I mean, I've heard of a couple of those people. Maybe
Have you did when you spoke with Mr. Marins? Did Marins happen to mention any of these individuals?
he didn't directly say the names, but per se might have been part of a conversation at some
Hmm. He goes,
like he knew the people is what I was getting from when I talked to him that he knew some of the people on that. Like he was friends with them, maybe.
hmm. He kind of nods a minute and he says, goes, I believe these may be connected to your problems in the League of Heladith. I'm hoping to help you with that. And if I can connect these murders and the disappearance of Mr. Marins, find the culprits, perhaps I can help with your predicament. I understand that I I believe that Miss Clutchell was in some way involved with these individuals. This is part of some larger thing going on. My superiors have allowed have my superiors have allowed me to investigate it, but they're unwilling to put together much more resources behind it unless I have something concrete. Uh, Do you mind if I ask you another question?
Uh, uh, yeah, ask away.
Have you heard first of all, well, I sorry, but I have two questions. First of all, what do you know about Dr. Sigvit, the Sheeran that was speaking with with the halfling you were talking to? I know you've met him before.
Yeah, me as the player, I don't remember, but Kim probably does.
Yeah, Kib Kib would remember he's the lead researcher for the Versped Research Collective, the space station that sent out a message, shit's dangerous in our system. This is a safety warning. Don't anybody come to our system. They came into your first party. You guys had to meet people unfriendly, but you guys did well enough that they became indifferent instead.
Okay, so Kim would be like, "Ah, man, that was some time ago. Like when we first got on that thing. I might have I met him once, I think, maybe more. I, we had a party because we had just gotten on this space stationy thingy. It was kind of run down from the previous people. I don't know who was there before, but it was run down, and we kind of took over and we kind of did a meet and greet for local people. And I think he was one of the people that was there.
He goes, so you don't know much about his research or what he might be looking into?
Not that I know of. Not that he said to me specifically. I mean, he was talking to several people that night, so uh, there was lots of people at that party. We were new to the system, and we were just trying to put a foothold in there after getting on the station. So
He kind of nods and he goes a little bit and he's like, says, and I have one very important question. And he actually looks around a little bit, even more cautiously than he has been at this point. He's like, "Have you ever heard of something called Operation Topaz?"
It was hard to not have an altered face reaction to that. He's like, I I think it's at some point in my research I ran across that. Um, I didn't dig into it too much, but I think I've heard that at some point in part of my research.
Goes, I think this is all connected. He goes, he says, I appreciate your time, Mr. Kibb. I won't take up too much of your time, and I certainly won't be blowing your cover, as it were here. I understand there are reasons why you might be cautious, but if you could do me a favor, um, perhaps we could pool some resources. Uh, it might go a ways to help. It might. I don't know if I can do anything about the League of Helladis as far as it goes that far, but it could weigh pretty heavily in your favor when it comes to the Verilax Concordance. If I'm able to put things together to prove that there is a link and that this Clutchell may have been involved in some way with something more sinister. Would you, if you have it, perhaps if you would like to speak to me further about the incident with Miss Clutchell, I'd be more than happy to listen. Any information could be helpful.
Yeah, with so much like I'm on me specifically in my brain trying to recall information is a little bit harder because my brain works so aggressively on so much different things and correlation of notes to find information. It not gonna pop right out of my head at the moment, but go over some of my notes of different days. I might have a few things that might jog my memory after I go back home, and maybe.
Would you would you mind terribly sending me communication if anything of any details that you may remember about the incident? Anything that wasn't on the officially released video would be helpful. What you were doing there, uh, how the conflict started, how it got out of control, anything of that nature might be of some help. We believe Mr. Tyrus Skilled may have some involvement just due to his relationship as Clutchell's guardian. And if not, I fear he may still make some political move. Any anything I can get a hold of that might prove to my superiors that the official story that the League of Helladis released isn't true or is at least altered would be, well, I'd be grateful. I'll do some digging on my end to see what I can come up with. If we can keep open channel, that would be, uh, well, I'd be happy. I'd be grateful for it.
Yeah, our brains kind of focus on different things and the moment. If I review it and I come up with stuff, give me your number and I'll send what I know.
He gives you his number, and he's like, says, and he says, we're, he goes, he kind of looks at you. He's like, well, he goes, I appreciate it. He goes, I appreciate that. Says, he goes. I'll let you know if I find out anything further as well. But for the time being, I would caution you. It seems like all of these folks here, the only connecting fiber I can find is that they all seem to be looking into Tarivia. And everyone who's looked into Tarivia on and they all ended up dead or missing.
What? You mean that old planet? It's like no more.
Yeah, ancient civilizations, I
Ancient
know.
civilization. That doesn't really make. Okay, whatever people are into, I guess.
And he kind of nods his head. He's like, he goes, he says, I won't take up any more of your time. And he goes, one last thing. There's one other name I heard attached to all of this. And I believe he was the former owner of that space station, one Captain Hurlig. There's a rumor that he didn't die when that station was attacked. I've heard rumors that he survived.
I,
If he's still alive, he could be the key to to understanding this whole thing.
oh, there was a captain. What kind of captain that used to be there before we got there?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Pilot ran a pirate operation of some sort.
oh. I
Yeah,
think well, when we got on the station, I kind of scanned through what was there, and I think, yeah, that name was on there. That makes sense. But what is he? There's a lot of correlation information we got to compile to make sense of it, I guess.
yeah. He kind of he kind of nods. He says, your friends are I believe your friends are a little swamped over there in idle conversation." He goes, uh, he goes, I would be very careful and not mention this conversation to very many people. Could put a lot of innocent people in danger around you.
Yeah,
And
I have
he
a
kind
lot of
of,
those. Okay, will do.
yeah, he kind of takes his leave and whatnot. Temerity, uh, and Philip, give me perception checks here.
Yeah.
No.
Because my man's been talking to a cop this whole fucking time. God damn it. I'm just so
Sorry, dude.
bad right now.
It's okay.
Temerity, maybe it's the lure of the party that's got you like
Oh, yeah.
distracted.
Temerity has gone into the bathroom and done, like, at least 2 rails at
Okay,
this
yeah.
point.
So Temerity's just hallucinating at this
Oh,
point.
for sure. For sure.
Ha!
Philip and Ha, you see the conversation that Kib has. Like you don't really see them didn't see like the pull aside, but you see that Kib is standing over talking to that Venom elf over on the corner for a few minutes, just sort of like just the two of them.
Hmm.
But because maybe like there was enough people in the way, when he pulled Kib aside. But you do see but you do both see like the conversation they have, just sort of the tail end of it that they talk for a minute and then the elf nods at Kib and then walks away.
Hmm. I look up at Ha and I'm like, Ha, mental note. Let's see if he lies to us later. Affirmative. Boop, boop, boop.
kind of slowly make my way back to where everybody else is. So, what are we talking about over here? What happened to you guys?
And
Sound about
Temerity, you didn't notice at all, right?
Oh, tomato.
Yeah, Temerity is like probably as Colfog is probably just
Oh, that's
like
true. Also,
in like this big fucking like in the middle of a circle of people right now being like, and then I say, are you kidding me? Lawyer, I barely know her. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, there's a bit of laughter. Some of it because people are fucked up and they're like, oh, it was funny, and some of it because, wow, polite laughter, haha, awkward. Like
Yeah.
there- there's a mixture.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
but
There's like
all right.
there's a clear like tiny purple line underneath one of Colfog's nostrils right now.
oh yeah,
Yeah, like people know. People know.
oh yeah.
Hmm.
The
All right. So, in that case, I will attempt to pretend that I didn't even notice the kid was gone. I fail.
I look
I'm
over
like,
and go,
oh, what's going on? Where have you been? Where have you been?
I
I
I
mean,
went and talked to the doctor
you found the doctor. When did that happen?
when you were talking to the really
Nice lady.
attractive robot chick, android person.
That's the word.
Cool.
There you go. Thank you. Neil, with that said, who else do we need to talk to here?
one you necessarily need to talk to. There's, other, like you see Arbel Gibbonfrock is here, the gnomish, the gnome leader of the Repurposers Guild, the salvage company, but he
Wait,
seems
that's
to
the guy
be,
that hates me, right?
yeah, that's the guy you pissed off early on.
Mm.
Like,
So,
he,
only if he makes eye contact with me at some point would I even bother to do anything. And even then, Temerity, let me tell you about this little guy over here. So when we first got here, there was some wreckage outside, and we were like, "Hey, that's ours." And he's like, "Fuck you, it's mine." And I'm like, "Well, fuck you too, buddy." And he didn't like that at all.
well, good to know.
And that was our best conversation.
And who are we
So,
talking about? I'm sorry.
This little, I
so
try to discreetly point.
she sort of like draws your attention to a gnome. He
Hmm.
looks like he looks like he's, been raised by, he looks like he fits in a civilized environment, but there's like a down home like aura, like a sort of blue collar aura about him.
Okay.
Like
Some
there's,
background. He
he's
also comes from a rich family.
yeah.
Hmm.
Mm.
I remember his story because I was like, "Man, did I already make enemies with somebody? Damn it!"
Hmm.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think that Colthog is going to be like, oh, I need to hit the head. Head back over to the rest of the party.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Alright.
So next
This is a
time that you
great
talk to
party.
the doctor, we just take him with us.
well, see, the doctor has a seminar he has to give tomorrow, but
Mhm.
after that, he's going to contact me, and then he's going to come back to our station, and then we're going to compare notes.
Okay.
Sounds like
So
nerd shit.
it is no shit. So what we're going to do is going to find a hotel for them, and then we'll get you into the seminar tomorrow. And then after the seminar, while you're talking with the doctor, we'll put him in this black bag, and then we'll take him home.
No, he's willing to come.
Oh, okay. In that case, we won't Shanghai him. Um,
But okay, so
I'm sorry. I just felt like a kidnapping. Oh,
somebody we might need to get rid of is that elf person. That dude is weird. He's
yeah.
crap.
What did you talk about with the elf?
he was talking about all these people on the list that have been killed off. And
Okay.
oh,
So, Kib, sweetie, baby cakes. Let's wait till we get to the hotel room and we'll talk about the rest.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
gonna start
Temerity.
nervously looking around now.
Temerity, remind me what your current form's name is.
Kolthog.
Oh, I hold out my hand and I'm like, Kolthog, it's time to go, sweet. Oh, sorry, Kolthog, it's time to go, dear.
Yeah, Kolthog's gonna be like, oh, Dad, 5 more minutes. Big grin on his face, probably towards the nearest person, and then like leans in, and in Temerity's voice is like, yeah, this place is giving me the creeps at this point.
Okay, and we will exit stage left.
Awesome. So I think maybe we get like as you guys go to like get on the elevator to leave the sort of like the party and whatnot. It's like maybe as you turn around and take one last look, you see like some fireworks in the sky in the and some laser light show and the party is just popping and there's people just like having a great time and it's it's like Space Studio 54 and Burning Man combined, I guess. Um, but
Oh no,
there's
there's a
tons of
flood and
music.
we don't have enough food or water.
not not quite that bad. But
That's good.
not that particular year's Burning Man. All right.
All right,
But
Burning Man year 2. I got it.
and yeah, so maybe there's like and then like we see you guys turn and get on the elevator to leave, and that's where we cut off. And let's go ahead and get to sign offs. Everybody send me your player's choice while I figure up XP and stuff, and whoever wants to go first, go first.
Hi, I'm David the Gnome, and tonight I played Philip Defoe. We did some diplomacy and saw some Richies, and Kib, of course, did Kib things. He should be glad I really don't play evil. I would have shot him and been done with it by now otherwise. But I love psychopathic, so we can just go along with it, because otherwise I'd just be mean. With that said and done, on to psychopathic.
Okay. Is it there? Okay. I'm psychopathic. Scott, whatever, pick a name. Most of the time I respond to it as long as my brain is functioning properly. But yeah, I play Kib. Kib's a lot different than I don't know. Kib's awesome. I like him. He's more scatterbrained and whatever and plans inside of plans, but whatever. And that's what Kib is. I'm also
Don't forget about the short-term memory loss.
yeah, I have a lot of that too. Kib has that too. Just because I have it. Anyways, what else am I in?
You're a pretty
Uh,
kitty.
I am everybody's favorite little cat in Lanes by Barrio on Saturdays. When we do that. And I love being the little cat. But recently I've become a bird more often because it's easier to fly away than to run away as a cat. But he originally likes being a cat. That's just who he is. And I don't know, my brain just froze and that's about all I'm in. Hey.
That would lead us to Mira.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mira Shade, also known as Mira Shade's GM, and today you caught me playing Temerity, who was using her alter ego Kolthog. I now have a list of alter egos that I've built up in my notes that I can start switching between and building actual character vibes for, which is fun. Tonight you caught me here. You'll actually be able to catch me relatively soon running, well, something I've wanted to run for a long, long time. I'd also like to give a special shout out to Cyrus Smith Gunner, for tonight, doing a little bit of midstream correction. Even though he was out doing his own thing, he had some time to help with the new overlay that he put together. Very good. Ooh, ah, shiny. But just wanted to give that shout out there. And I think that is going to be me.
Awesome. Chris, I need your Player's Choice Award.
I sent it to you unless I sent it to somebody else.
You may have sent it to somebody else because I don't have it.
Oh, wow. I sent it to Computer King.
He'll be like, what the fuck?
Okay.
Nice.
Give me 6
Great.
seconds, and then I'll apologize to Computer, who's looking at it going, why?
Awesome. So,
Okay, I think I sent it to you.
yeah, you did. So, XP, basic XP for everybody tonight is 1070. Kib, you get an extra 20, you get an extra 50 because you won Player's Choice. Being Kib. With that said, thank you everybody. Those of you who came back tonight to watch us. I haven't looked at the actual Twitch screen to know who, what, when, where. But if you did come back to join us live, thank you very much for your patience. And we appreciate it. If you're just watching this on video and YouTube later, or even on Twitch later, wherever it is, thank you for watching there. This is I have been actually working on this for a minute, so I put a bit into it. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. With that said, I am the Just a King Zerat, and you can catch me here on Monday nights for Freewheel Station. That's all I'm in at the moment, but there always remains the possibility of doing something else at some point. If I have anything solid, we'll keep you posted. But other than that, I think that's all we have for tonight. So let's bring out the dragon and get out of here. Bring out the dragon!
dragon!
I love Zamzam.